Hello and welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by First Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website, firstua.com. Olena Tsarenko is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. According to the press center of the anti-terror operation, this night was 10th in the anti-terror operation ATO region. Totally, there were 19 attacks against Ukrainian positions. Pro-Russia illegal armed formation activated their illegal efforts in Lugansk direction. The enemy used artillery mortars and tanks. The next direction, the terrorists made attacks against Troitsky, Ridkodub, Debaltseve, Sanjarivku, Mios, Chernuhino, Nova Grigorivka, Popasna. Also shelled were Nevelsky, Pesky, Krasnogorivka, Vodyane in Donetsk direction. The intensity of attacks in Debaltseve direction was reduced. Meanwhile, the town was attacked by Grad system and mortars. Also, they fired at Krymsky, Novotoshevsky, Shchastia.
From February 1st till 5th, the 60 terrorists were killed, 4 tanks, 2 self-propelled artillery weapons destroyed. Near Bryanka, Luhansk region, Ukrainian troops destroyed 7 ammunition depots of the pro-Russia illegal armed formations. Yesterday in the afternoon, Ukrainian air defense systems detected the enemy's UAV. It was destroyed. It is worth mentioning the Ukrainian forces have not left any positions.
For the past day, 2 military Ukrainians were killed and 26 injured. It's a day of silence in Debaltseve, which was attacked by pro-Russian separatists during previous days. Ukrainian authorities organized a green corridor to evacuate inhabitants. Separatists promised to stop there until 5 p.m. Now, because of cold weather, it's difficult to stay at the basement, so many people now going away. Main destination of evacuation is Artemivsk. According to data of the local Ukrainian authorities, 10,000 people are still situated in Debaltseve. During the last 3 days, pro-Russian separatists were attacked Debaltseve, that is under control of Ukrainian forces. Many residential buildings and houses were damaged.
We agreed to a ceasefire on February 6-7 near the town Debaltseve from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and to the road Debaltseve-Volhyhirsk and Debaltseve-Donetsk from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. The main purpose of the agreement is the evacuation of local residents in the city of Donetsk, Debaltseve and Volhyhirsk.
This video filmed eyewitnesses. It filmed yesterday in Donetsk region during the attacks, which can be heard behind the scenes evacuating people. You can see this video without comments. Now in our studio we are talking about the people with disabilities suffering from anti-terrorist operation in Ukraine. The special guest in our studio, the head of Ukrainian NGO Coalition for the Rights of People with Intellectual Disabilities, Raisa Kravchenko. What is the support from Ukrainian government to the internal migrants with disabilities?
From Ukrainian government, the support is the same as mainstream immigrants have. While it is very difficult to be immigrant, internal migrant with the disability, because in general in Ukraine the provision is very limited. And when you live in some area, and in Donbas area, it is 372,000 people with disabilities. And among those registered as internal migrants, there are 41,000 people. And those who need extremely big amount of help, big amount of services, all of them are placed altogether mainly in Odessa region, and they're placed in sanatoria for those who want to get treatment. And this limitation in resources is a big problem, because sometimes a person on a wheelchair finds herself without a lift on the 7th floor, or for example a person who needs some procedures for renal condition 3 times a week. They can't approach this condition and they have no provision. And the provision is, as an average refugee, it is 882 hryvnia per month to accommodate, to rent some flat or to rent some house, no more than, per one person, no more than 2,400 per family, and that is definitely not enough. And particular problem is lack of services, because at home the families and people with disabilities and those who take care of them, they manage to have some balance of services, some balance of care load for the family member, but while in the condition of being a refugee, of being a migrant, it's difficult to have access to services. Practically, they don't have access to rehabilitation services and social services.
And we have very important information from Mariupol. And now you can also heard the head of disabilities organization. She was talking about the strong situation and what happens now in Mariupol. Please listen to her.
There is no massive evacuation. Many has refused to be evacuated. It's not easy at all to explain to those poor people, especially kids, why they have to leave. It's very hard morally to withstand it. We are trying to evacuate, in particular those who were in an eastern part that was harmed the most because of shelling. We are so sorry for these people, children in particular. It's hard to look into their eyes. They see all of this and they don't understand why it is happening. They're also scared, of course. Those who have relatives, they can go. The road to Berdyansk is open, so yet it is possible for us to evacuate them. It's also hard to say if it's safe for them to stay. Nobody knows what will happen next. The difficulties are also with houses, as they are heavily damaged. Thanks to the city and its enterprises, they're helping us a lot, but we don't know what it will be when the weather gets colder.
How do the migrant people get help?
Mainly they get help from volunteers and from NGOs. For example, our NGO, we are an umbrella NGO of 116 NGOs uniting together 35,000 people, and we managed to evacuate one organization, one non-governmental organization, about 30 people from Donetsk, and we are collecting help, warm clothes, food, etc., money, to people in Odessa region who are placed in a sanatoria. But also another problem is new budget rules, new rules of financial accounting system, new budget code, which makes it difficult to provide care. For example, we received, and we are grateful for that donation for people in Mariupol, because in this particular NGO which you spoke about today, one lady with intellectual disability, she got a spinal trauma after bombing. And there is a great need to have financial support for the medication, for the medical operation, for the care after operation. And it's difficult to transfer it through the banks and to avoid taxation, because if you are providing financial help to a particular citizen, to a particular person, in spite of the difficult condition this person is, you will be taxed. I mean, this donation will be taxed. So it's now we are finding out the way to help this particular person without taxation, because it's nonsense.
And you can also say some words about the NGO coalition, what the situation in your organization, about problems, and maybe you can tell us more about your organization too.
Thank you. In the Donbas region, in the region where there is anti-terrorist operation, we have 6 organizations, because totally we have NGOs, parental NGOs from all over Ukraine. And in the Donbas region, there are 6 operations and 6 organizations, and 4 of them practically stopped their activities. It means that about 200 people are no longer in care. They are just supported by their parents, those who have, and it is precondition to be placed in the boarding home. By the way, in the Donbas region, there are 29 boarding homes, and the situation is also very, very difficult because our authorities, national authorities, cannot agree, cannot have agreements, some negotiations about how to evacuate these people, those with psychosocial conditions, with intellectual disabilities, and care personnel are leaving the place because they're saving their own families, and so there's very, very big gap in services. And for us also, all Ukrainians suffer because this war cannot but change the life of every particular person. And even before this acute situation, we had limited services and limited resources. Now we know that every fifth of our 100 organizations is at risk of discontinue the services because there's no financial support, neither from the population, from local donor, local businesses, nor from, we have governmental support, and we're grateful to the national authorities to preserve this program to support the NGOs, national NGOs. And within the national support, we provide services in 35 NGOs, covering 300 people. But now we are not sure we will be able to continue the services. So people will be at risk. Hundreds and thousands of people with intellectual disabilities will be at risk of placing into the boarding homes, in psychoneurological institutions, etc.
Thank you for your interview. And now, find and detain former President Viktor Yanukovych and members of his team. With such a request from the Prosecutor General's Office of Ukraine appeared to the Prosecutor General's Office of Russia. The Prosecutor General's Office brought corruption charges against former Prime Minister Mykola Azarova, Vitalia Zakharchenko, former Prosecutor General Viktor Pshonka and Alexandria Khimenko. The Prosecutor General Vitaly Yarema delivers a report at the Verkhovna Rada. Not a single corruption case against Yanukovych team has yet been submitted to a court. According to Yarema, losses which cost Ukraine Yanukovych are estimated at 100 billion. Some of the stolen assets derived abroad.
We investigated the criminal investigation into the activities and the creation of former President of Ukraine Viktor Yanukovych criminal organization. The investigators called enough evidence of systematic committing of criminal gang members, especially grave crimes. The structure of the criminal organization were highest officials. They were in leadership in the parliament and central and regional authorities. Police more than 10-14 years.
The new weapon for Ukrainian guards, enhanced service anti-tank missiles military leaders directed in view of the counteration of Russian forces along the borders. Now soldiers acquire new weapons for themselves. Studies made in Cherkasy. The guards came from all regions.
This is the anti-tank missile launcher. It was developed in the USSR, but it's modernized now. The shell is wirelessly controlled. It hits even the target that suddenly moved from its place. Ivan is a boarded guard from Volyn. He is mastering this new for him technique only a couple of days, but he is an expert already. We're getting it ready to the fight condition and conducting the pull-off. After a pull-off, the correction at the target. It's not hard to control this. If you have skills, it's easy. The furnace of the shell flight is more than 2 kilometers. The speed is near 20 meters per second. When the missile hits the tank, the cumulative strain that burns through the armor is forming and creates the excessive pressure and the thermal influence. The crew can suffer heavily. The launcher is effective enough. During the executing of the mission, very effective. This anti-tank missile launcher is not cheap. Instructors of the training center are joking. In the USSR, the price of it was the same as the price of a car Zhiguli. So there wasn't shelling in vain. It's hard to find experienced operator. There is need to have those soldiers say. This weapon can be used soon at the ATO zone and also in guarding the state border. Training lasts a week. After that, to the border with a new weapon. Yulia Kiris, Alexander Tsarenko, Alexandra Samolenko, First Ukraine.
The 65th Berlinale has kicked off in style. With the race for the prestigious Golden Bear Award underway, the director of the Berlin International Film Festival has promised female filmmakers will be well represented. Darren Afronsky, the president of the international jury, the American director, outlined why he's happy to be on the panel. Spanish director Isabel Coyet's film Nobody Wants the Night was selected to open the festival. This year's Berlinale has a promising program, but everyone is waiting for the suspense for the films featuring stars such as Nicole Kidman, Natalie Portman and James Franco. The festival will last until 15 February. The audience will show 400 films, 19 of them compete for the Golden Bear. Traditionally, the festival will run on Ukrainian pavilion. Local audience will bring new work of our directors and restored classical Ukrainian cinema. It was the United Country newscast by First Ukraine. You can find more details at our website, firsta.com. Olena Tsarenko was working for you in the studio. We wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.